Welcome to Hatha Yoga for today, and we're going to be focusing on extension, so backbending. I don't like to say the word backbending, people have a heart attack. So we're just going to do some extension, really open up the chest and get that spine moving backwards. So as you get older, this is the spine movement we lose the most of. And also most people are sat in that kind of shape because maybe they're driving a lot or they're on computers. So we're just going to open all of that up. I have got some blocks. So you can have some blocks or books or even cans of baked beans or something, but you might not even need it. So yeah, so shall we get started? So we're going to start in puppy pose. So it's very similar to child pose, but slightly different. So we'll come onto the knees. Now, if you need to have like loads of blankets or something for your knees, you can. Or you can fold your mat or little cushions under the knee joints if you want to. So we'll start in all fours. So have the knees directly under the hips and your feet are in line with the knees. So if you gaze between your knees, you shouldn't be able to see your feet, okay? So we'll come down onto the elbows. And we're going to start to send the forehead towards the floor. And as you do that, you'll reach your arms forward. Now, the wider your arms, the less challenging it is on the shoulder joint. The closer your hands together, the harder it is on the shoulder joint. So just pick whichever one you feel is beneficial. You don't want any pain, but sometimes we do need to stretch. You know, the shoulder has got a load of muscles around there, so see how that feels. If your head doesn't touch the floor, then pop a little cushion there or a towel so that your head is touching something. And then we're going to hold that position. So as you come into puppy pose, the intention is to try and drop your heart. Okay, so eventually one day, maybe never, you might be able to lift the chin. So it's quite a big shoulder opener. But all I want you to just focus on for now is just this big stretch from the hands to the elbows, and from the elbows to your armpits. And just gaze towards your feet. Do your feet feel like they want to pop up? Really try and anchor the feet down. And the bum's in the air. So often with puppy pose, people will drop the bum too far back. So trying to keep that hip above the knees. And we don't want too much weight in the head. You don't want to put the whole weight of the body in the head. And we just breathe, so expand the rib cage. And then as you exhale, draw the tummy in. Breathing in. And exhale. Just notice if there's any tension creeping into your body. Maybe your shoulders, your toes. Maybe there's areas of your body that are active. Just try and relax through the body. Last breath. Slide one hand under your shoulder and then the other one and just push yourself up. Lovely. And then we're just going to have a little rock from side to side. So like for me in those arms, I can feel it there. So just have a little rock. Oh, delicious. Did you hear that? It's always my intention is to get a click out the hip. And then have a little circle. Just move the body a little bit after that. Good. And then we're going to come down onto the mat. So we're going to do this yogi style. From here, hug your elbows in and have your hands a little bit more forward and then bring the shoulders above there. So you can see my knees are further back now. But try not to let your hips drop. You want to keep that bum up. Hug the elbows inwards, and you want to see if you can get your chest and your chin to the floor, and it'll be more forward. So it might be a little bit scary when you start. Put a pillow there just to help you. But you want your chest and your chin down before the hips. So hug your elbows in, and then lower down, and then slide the legs. Okay. So my forehead is down. Now, if you have big boobs, you may need to put a little block under your head just so your neck is in a straight line. But bring your hands down to the side, and then you can hold hands. So you can either lock your fingers together, you can hold hands like that, or if you have any shoulder or elbow issues, just have your hands down to the side of the body. Okay, we don't want to force the shoulder to do anything here. So pull that belly button in. Send your pubic bone into the floor, and now reach your legs away and hold that position. Take another breath. Now roll that whole shoulder joint together. Lift your chest and try and send your hands down over the bum. So my toes are still touching the floor. And then maybe you can lift the hands. So you don't want any pain in this part of the shoulder here. So if you are having pain, just have your hands down to the side of you. And then bring your hands under your head, take your head to one side, and just relax. Give your bum a little wiggle. And then we're going to make that a little bit more challenging. So if that was enough for you, you can stay at that level. Otherwise, taking the hands again. Switch hands. So I normally hold with my right hand. I'm going to hold with my left hand. Take a breath in. Tummy draws in, pubic bone down. Reach those legs away. As you come up, reach those hands down over. Now, can you start to lift the legs nice and high? So really focus on squeezing your bum and try and keep those knees straight. And can you come off of the chest? Keep your chin down so the neck is nice and long. And then release down, hands under the head, and put your head the other way. And just have a little wiggle there with the bum. So you might notice it can be a bit challenging to breathe when we're in this position. So we're just going to do one more. Again, you can stay there. Bringing the hands back behind the back. Bring the legs a little closer this time if you can. Tummy goes in, pubic bone to the mat, reach your legs away. Now we're going to lift everything at the same time. So breathing in. And then as you exhale, lift. Now again, try and keep those feet closer together. They might want to open up. But just a little challenge, can you keep them closer together? Hold it there, take another breath in. Can you go a little higher? So really squeeze your bum, your back, and then release down. Take the hands under the shoulders and gently push up. We're just going to do some cat-cows first as a counter pose, and then we'll go into a child. So wrists and elbows under the shoulders, knees are under the hips. So again, just checking to make sure that your feet are not all over the place behind you. And the tummy is drawn in, so we don't want to be hanging in that lower back over there. Pull that belly button in. Inhale. And as you exhale, pull that tailbone under and your pubic bone towards your heart. And then push up through each vertebra and then just relax your head. So you want to make sure that the back of your legs are nice and relaxed so that your abdominals have to do all the work. Inhale, tailbone to ceiling. I like to have a little shoulder roll there. Lift your heart. So even though we're coming into a slight extension in the lower back, that little back bend, just be aware that you don't let your tummy hang. So really draw that tummy in. And then follow your own breath. So exhale. Have a little wiggle if you want. And inhale. And then you can either stay with cat-cows if you haven't got any issues with your knees. You can always come down into a child pose. So it's a nice little counter stretch after the locust, which is what we just did. And then we are coming to all, well, not all fours, knees. So I'm going to introduce you to the camel. Don't get it mistaken for the camel toe. So, I like to use blocks for the camel. Don't get fixated on whether or not you can get in the posture. Sometimes people get so angry with themselves. So the position we want to be in is hips above the knee. Now, I've got really long toes, so if you have got long flexible toes, mobile toes, you can keep the toes tucked in, okay? We're going to put a bit of weight into there, so what you don't want is to be on the point of your toes, because that isn't very stable. So if you find your toes don't move as much, have a flat foot. Flat foot is also a little harder, okay? So any one of those two. And we're actually going to pop the blocks over there. We're not going to do the full camel, I'm just introducing you to it. So start with your hip bones are pointing forward. So what we want to do with the camel is people often hinge, like I can already feel it, like into there with the back. So what you want to do is think of sending your tailbone down. So what we're doing is we're pulling the hips up. So like a pelvic tilt, almost like you're trying to hide your belly, okay? What that does is it gives your lower back some length rather than in that position there. Okay, so we want to tuck under. Now you might find that makes your movement a little harder because of the hips, but it's safer for the lower back, okay? So we're in that little tilt, so pull the pubic bone towards your belly button. I'm going to take the right arm because that's where you are. So right arm comes up. Look at the hand, and then can you take the hand onto the block? Now you might need to have 5 blocks. No one cares, okay? So just take a block. All we're after is just a little bit of a stretch in the front there. Keep your hips pointing forward. Keep that tailbone down and the pubic bone coming up, and then just reach that arm up. So you can either gaze down towards the block and just open it a little bit, or if your neck doesn't hurt, you can gaze up and try and take it a bit further. But try not to be like Instagram, where they hinge in the lower back, and all of those people are probably ex-dancers and whatnot. So, you know, we really want to look after our spine and our joints. Can you feel a stretch somewhere? Yes, well, that's as far as you need to go. Wherever your head, sometimes my head prefers to be down there. And then breathe in. And now as you exhale, lift that hand up to the ceiling and let it help you to bring yourself back up again. Restack the hips, breathe in, tailbone under, and now right hand comes, well, that's the one left hand comes up. Take it over to the block. So I already feel quite stiff on this side. And then other hand comes up. Now be aware that you're not just sinking your weight into your hand. Get your abdominals and your glutes and everything to help hold the body. And again, your head can be towards the block or up towards the ceiling. But remember, you're trying to keep that pelvic tilt so that you're not hinging in that lower part of the back. I quite like these little ones rather than the full one. So again, your top hand, you're reaching up to the ceiling and maybe reach it a little bit further back. Keep that pubic bone trying to come towards the belly. Inhale, reach, and then bring the arm down and use these abdominals to bring yourself back up again. Marvelous. And that is as far as we are going to take it for the camel. So just take the blocks out of the way and we're going to take it back to child pose. So have the knees wide, toes together. Now if you've got knee issues and you can't do child pose, just come onto your back and give your knees a hug. And you can give yourself a little rock. So coming into your child pose, forehead towards the floor. If your head doesn't touch the floor, just put a block under your head. Or you can even take your hands under your head. We're just giving that back a chance to stretch after we've done the camel. And start to notice your breathing. So whether you're on your back or on your child pose in your front, just allow your rib cage to expand into your legs. Really breathe deeply into the belly. And as you exhale, just let all the tension go. Inhale into the belly. And exhale. One more. Bring the hands under the shoulders nice and slowly. If you get a little dizzy, just keep your head there. And we're going to come back into a seated position. On the mat. This is when I fall off the block. So I hope you like that little class. Such a nice way just to stretch off the front of the body, strengthen the back of the body, and just have some time on your mat. So take care, and I'll see you again soon.